Well, this year's festival is focused on Flannery O'Connor. We always have a featured historical figure, and it made sense this year to choose Flannery O'Connor because, first and foremost, she's a Savannah native, but secondly, because this year, in 2014, is the 50th anniversary of her death, and it's always nice when the History Festival can sort of hang its hook on a big anniversary. She's somebody who has had a tremendous impact, not only in this city, and not only obviously in Georgia and the United States, but worldwide, in ways we really don't even realize anymore. Her writing has influenced other writers, musicians, filmmakers, much of the genre we think about as being Gothic, without even really knowing what that is. She shaped and influenced. Her religion was very important to her, and that began right here in this city. And that will be the focus of one of the programs that we have on February 4th. I think that one of the reasons she has been able to be so successful in living a short 39 years, but her legacy and her writings continue to reverberate across time because she did what all great writers do. She really tried, through her own lens, to understand the human condition. She used her religious beliefs, but she also wrote about some things that are quite disturbing to read now, and you wonder how someone who lived her life could have been able to do and think about these things in the way that she did. But like most great artists, she used, I think, her own suffering, her own sense of reality, her own sense of her relationship to God, in exploring the human condition. So like Faulkner and like Hemingway and like other great writers of the 20th century, she used her background and the things that she knew to take her in places that we all think, when we read her, how could she know that? How could she have experienced that? And that, I think, is part of her fascination too. We're not quite sure. Because like all great art, you're not quite sure where it comes from. And if it were that easy, we might all be able to do it. I don't think it was easy. But I think that that's one of the reasons that she continues to fascinate and continues to have such an important influence on our culture. All good history, all good literature still touches us in some way. It still says something to us. And when it happens unexpectedly, when you read her stuff, it's almost like watching a Coen Brothers movie. And strangely enough, they did have a deep influence on her. Now, I didn't know that until we began researching her for this year's Georgia History Festival. Well, on February 6th, Thursday night, we are screening John Huston's version of Wise Blood, which of course was her novel. This was a movie made in Savannah, partly here, partly in Macon, in 1979, directed by John Huston, and starring in a very small part our own Stratton Leopold. But before we watch it, we're going to have a short panel discussion on stage with me and Stratton and Bruce Gentry, who is the head of Flannery O'Connor Studies at Georgia College and State University in Milledgeville. He is the editor of the Flannery O'Connor Journal. So we're going to talk about both how this great novel translated into film, literally what it was like making that movie and being in that movie in Savannah, the experience of that, which Stratton will talk to, but then also her influence, her pervading and ongoing influence in the culture. So we'll have sort of a freewheeling discussion for about a half hour before we watch the movie. So it'll be a great evening, a lot of fun there in the historic Lucas Theater. So we would encourage people to come out and really experience something new for the Georgia History Festival. We've not ever done this before. We always try to find a different way to make the featured historical figure come to life.